Hey everybody, this is Tony, and I have a special guest here with me today, Miss Rah Digga. How are you?
Whoop whoop, digga digga birthday, Rashia. I'm good.
um, okay, so everybody knows you as one of the baddest rappers to ever come out. You know,
Really?
um,
They do? That's awesome. Thank
yeah.
y'all.
What made you want to be a rapper out of all the things that you could have done?
I think with everything that I was, dealing with as a child, like my parents growing up in a musical household, like my parents, all they did was play uh vinyl and dance and party and cook, and so I've always been exposed to music, and music wasn't so segregated back then, so all different kinds. I was in rock and roll, jazz, blues, so music was always in me, but I was book smart too. Like I was going to school to be an engineer, but the
Mhm.
music just kept calling me, and there it was. I went to MJIT. I turned down a scholarship to go to MIT, to go to NJIT, because I wanted to stay close to home. I didn't want to go away. But
Right.
I was doing my thing in the math and sciences. But music was my calling.
All right. Okay, so then you got into the business. Everybody knew you started knowing you as a member of the Flipmode with Busta Rhymes. Um.
Well, I got into business long before, but I actually had a deal. I was signed to a lecturer through Q-Tip before I even met Buster. I got my
Okay.
deal. I got a deal, when I was doing Lyricist Lounge, and that's like, that's where I come from. That's where Bahamadia comes from.
Right.
Common, Sarah Monch, Q-Tip, uh, Talib Kweli, Mos Def. Like there were a community of like lyricists. I did a lot of touring with that circuit. Met
Mhm.
Q-Tip. Met Q-Tip, got a deal, had a baby. I was performing like 8 months pregnant and got my record deal just from
Wow.
that. And and then from there, I had the baby, and about I say a year into my deal, like Q-Tip was breaking up with Tribe Called Quest. Well, Tribe Called Quest was splitting up rather. They were all breaking up from each other, so
Mhm.
it got a little, I guess hard for Tip to focus on me, and that ultimately led me to Busta. So,
Oh, okay.
like I've been doing this for a really long time. Like nobody really like, I guess, gave me anything. Like I was really out here like trooping like the boys. Like I wasn't picked like, okay, you're gonna be the girl in the crew.
Right, right. Now, when you got into the business, did you know what everything that could go on in it, or were you just like, I want to do this, and I want to make albums, and that's that?
Well, yeah. I mean, in the beginning, it was just my goal to make music. Like I didn't know you could, segue into so many other things until it actually started happening. Like I was getting calls for movies, and I was like, okay, this is a whole nother world that I didn't even consider. Like I just, I had
Right.
all the fun in the world just going to the studio. So I mean, it was a nice surprise. I think, being the type of artist that I am, though, I was just more devoted to the music. Like it wasn't, the reason I fell in love with music wasn't for monetary gain, because in those days, it wasn't, it was more accolades than financial. It was like respect and credibility and community.
Right,
It was
right.
just different things that mattered. So, like a part of me always felt like I could just do music forever. But it's as a businesswoman, you have to you know you have to branch out into other things. But I feel like with the if you treat the music like a business, it'll pay like a business. You know, you
Right, right.
you treat it as a joke or a pastime, then yeah, you're going to yield the same result.
Mhm. Okay, now your first album, Dirty Harriet, which came out in 1999, What were you expecting to come from that album?
It actually, I don't know why that. I guess I must need to change that in Wikipedia or something. It came out in 2000. I mean, I know I started getting a buzz in 99. Tight came out and Imperial came out, but the actual album
Okay.
came out in 2000.
Oh, okay.
But you're saying like what was that experience or what?
Yeah, what were you when since it was like your first album? What were you expecting for
Oh,
to happen with the album?
I just expected people to know that I really know how to rhyme. Like I personally didn't expect it to do anything like crazy top Billboard hits because I just know how hip hop is, and
Mhm.
I'm I'm a little too I'm too militant and too hardcore to be I guess I'm not happy people friendly enough. Like I don't know, suburban kid friendly. Like I'm speaking, I'm speaking more to inner city kids and people like those, like that demographic is always my focus when I write a rhyme. It's like whoever enjoys my music, but my goal isn't to like appease the masses. My goal is to like shake some sense into the people in
Right.
the hood.
Right. Okay. Now your next album after that wasn't until what 2010. Why did it take so long in between albums?
Well, the album that was supposed to come out after Dirty Harriet never came out because we all lost our deal with J Records.
Okay.
I put it out on the internet. It didn't come out as a commercial release, but I just said, oh, to hell with it, and leaked it on the internet. Like it's on my Bandcamp page right now for sale. Like I don't I don't care. It's not about I'm always making music, whether it comes out through through a corporate situation or not are things that I don't concern myself with. As long as, now that we have internet, I'll put music out. As long as I make it, you can hear for yourself.
Yeah.
I'm steadfast in my conviction. I'm not the most consistent with putting music out, but I never stop. And when I do, if you don't like nothing else, like, you're going to love the verses.
Right.
That's my moniker.
Now, are you working on an album anytime soon?
Yes, I'm working on a bunch of stuff right now. I'm dropping a few different things. I have like a 3-song hip house EP that I'm putting out through a Chicago-based label. That's really like the whole house music, and they respect the Jersey house movement, and we came together on some things. So that's just gonna be like some sidebar summer fun. That'll be like 3 more party and bullshits.
Okay.
and then, but my core album I'm working on right now. Like right now I'm leaking songs on SoundCloud, and probably towards like the end of September, I'm just gonna put those all together as a compilation. Like, this is everything I've been doing in the past such and such month. And then that'll be like September, and then October, like, I'll have a real album, like a nice, concentrated, 12 to 14 song album. Like it'll be like another classic, just a key select producers and do that. And then I have I'm doing something fun. I work with a band with Bernie Worrell's band from time, legendary Bernie Worrell. I work with his band from time to time, and we're putting together like a live band EP. It's something experimental for me as well as for them. So we come together, we eat, we rejoice in libations, and we just mess around in the studio. I'm gonna put that out probably towards the holidays. So I'm dibbling dabbling in a bunch of things. Like there won't be another 10 years before I put things out, but
Okay.
let the record reflect. I really never stopped dropping stuff. I've gone through hiatus. I've gone a months or something without dropping, but never really years. Like there's always every year there's a verse or two, somewhere out there of mine.
Right. Okay, so now that you're doing new projects, do you feel like you miss being under, a big label?
No, not at all. I really don't, because when you're on a label, when you're spending a label's money, it's almost like you're making music for them. You're not really making music for people. And
right.
I just feel like as an independent artist, I can I can just eliminate all the middlemen. I can eliminate everybody else's opinion and say exactly what I want to say to people. Like it doesn't get any more realer than that. Like there's no second, third, fourth parties filter in this situation. It's like it's coming you're hearing it straight from the horse's mouth. So
right.
I like having that freedom, because I have things to say that Clear Channel might not want y'all to hear.
Right.
So when I do it this way, it gets heard. Like I'm the one that will make an anti-twerk. I'm the one that will make diss songs to when people get out of line. Like it ain't for everybody.
Okay, so now, what do you think about the state of females in rap today?
Well, right at this present moment, I love it. I feel like everybody's getting a little fire in their belly. But there are a lot of females, that's been doing it and never stopped either. Shouts out to Trina, love her or hate her, she never stopped dropping stuff. Shouts out to Gangsta Boo, she never stopped dropping stuff. Like there's a lot of females that never stopped dropping music. Shouts out to Jean Grey, people like myself. There's new artists coming up that don't, that aren't going to, focus on their bodies, but rather just be the best MC they could be. And, I tell them they got a hard road to go. That's a tough stance to take, to be like, you know what, I'm not squatting my ass. I'm going to stand here with my Converse and spit the best rhymes imaginable. And you got to salute those females. So there's females that have been doing it. It's not like, it didn't just stop. It's just people just started like over focusing on a certain element, of female rapper, and there's nothing wrong with it. I just think there's, I just enjoy all the different varieties of it. I enjoy the B girl, I enjoy street girl, I enjoy the college rapper chick, I enjoy the Barbie, I enjoy the the sister next door that's gonna beat somebody up for you. Is like I don't like that. They're making like one prototype what you have to be. They're making one prototype define female rap, and I think that's just totally wrong.
So what does it mean to be a female in rap to you?
To be a female in rap? Well, I mean, for me, like, I'm not going to get out here and pretend like I'm 20 years old. Like, I'm not no spring chicken, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I got time in this. I rap circles around folks like it's nothing. But I also I feel like I represent a motherhood as well. I am a mother, and when I make music, I'm trying to tell my daughter things and her peers things. Like, I'm taking my daughter to funerals every week or somebody's trial case. So it's like, and these are her friends, and
right.
And it's like, the music I make, even in all of my, in all of my Rah Digga, hardcore fashion, I'm trying to be that mommy or that auntie to them. So that's, that's what I represent as far as female emceeing goes. There's chicks that represent the drug dealer girlfriend. There's chicks that, represent the hoes. There's that there's that chick that, represents the young B girl. But for me, for me, I'm like, I'm like mommy.
Okay, now let's talk about acting.
Or better yet, auntie. I'm auntie, because I'll whoop your ass. I'll give you that ass whooping that your mama didn't. You know that auntie that whoop your ass when your mother playing games? You're like, get your ass. I don't care what your mother's. I don't care if your mother watching. I'm gonna whoop your ass if you you say MC like name in the song again. I'll whoop your ass. That's me.
That's right. Oh, no. Okay, now let's talk about acting. Now you did 13 Ghosts. Mm-hmm. Now that seemed like it was so unpredictable for you, as seeing the kind of career that you had and the type of person you seem to be. How did you get that role in the movie?
Being exactly the person that I am, because let me tell you, that meeting, I went to California to audition for Baby Boy, and I just knew what a ghetto chick from where they were at, Watts or wherever the movie takes place. I was like, oh, this is easy, and I ended up not getting that role. Mm-hmm. But getting a role in 13 Ghosts. In 13 Ghosts, I was so not prepared. I didn't have anything memorized. I went to the reading hung over. I was a mess. But I got in there. I was so hungover, the words were moving off the page of the sides. I literally had to ball them things up. Like, you know what? Can I just improvise? And they turned that camera on, I improvised, and I got that part. I did that.
Wow. That's good. But then you did Carmen and Hip Hop.
Mhm.
And
well, they reached out to me because they were really trying to get bona fide musicians. So they got people like myself, Mos Def, Wyclef, at that time, that was the creme de la creme of rapping.
Mhm. Okay, so you've done acting here and there. Are you doing any more acting anytime soon?
I'm thinking about it. I'm actually getting ready to take a trip to Atlanta to talk to a couple of people about some things. But at the same token, I want to make sure that I finish all those aforementioned albums because I put myself on a musical schedule. I want to stick. Like, it's real easy for me to get distracted with other things. Like, I have nonprofits. I work with the city. I have the key to the city. I was this close to running for councilwoman, but I said, you know what, before I get into all of that, let me get some projects out. So I'm trying to spend one solid year just focusing on music, but it's amazing how many other opportunities, come to me, springboarding from music. Like me being the type of rapper that I am, I never thought that Michael Jackson was listening to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no way that I got on that show without his approval. So it's like you gotta, like, people gotta recognize and
you were like the only rapper there,
Yeah, in the whole show, male or female. Yeah,
presence of Michael Jackson. So okay, give me just one. Okay, so seeing that you done your acting, here and there. Do you feel like it's something that you take as serious as your rapping?
Something that I take as serious as rapping are probably my community projects, because that's a real, that's a real serious issue for me. There's a lot of talent that comes out of Jersey, and a lot of them are just simply not here. And I feel like, as easy as it is for me to, up and move away, and I have residences other places, but
right.
one thing you can't escape, you're still gonna have cousins and nieces and nephews and aunts and uncles and siblings and, distant relatives. Like, you're always gonna have people still in the hood. So in order to really, like, save your family, it really boils down to saving the community. So I was raised with on the ideology of it takes a village to raise a child, and that's something that, that's something that I take really, really serious. I'm literally, driving through the streets of Newark with the S on my chest, saving kids from gang initiations, picking them up from places, getting a call 17 minutes later, a shootout just occurred. I'm literally saving lives out here. I deliver food. I go to fancy soirees, and whatever food's left over, I'll take it and transport, just drop it off at a homeless shelter by myself. And some seedy part of town. Like, these are things that I do in my day to day when I'm not traveling and touring. So that, I would say, that's probably the second most time consuming thing that I do. Or definitely the second most important thing I'm serious about. I mean, not necessarily in that order, because, I use the music to teach the kids. I use the kids to make the music. That's right. They go hand in hand. That's what rap was created for. It was teaching kids. Like, we learn lessons. I learned lessons from rap growing up. Like, hip hop really raised me.
Right. Okay, now looking over your career and seeing the opportunities that you've gotten and the things that you've been able to do, would you do it all over again if you had the chance to?
Yes, I would. The only thing I would do different, I probably would have made one more album on Elektra Records before leaving them and going to Jay. I went to Jay because Busta said he wasn't happy with Elektra. I was done. I was like, okay, this is the man that, that fought the fight for me with these people. So, wherever he go, I go. I wish I would have, like, not been so busy doing other stuff and would have just, like, focused on dropping a next album on Elektra. We were actually working on a Flipmode album, which was, it was crazy. Like, it was like 12 times better than the first Flipmode album. Everybody had, like, the crazy solo records on there, but it, it never got to get released. But I think I definitely would have, like, did more on my own. Like, I was scared. There was a part of me that was scared. Like, I really felt like, as a female, you couldn't sustain in the industry without it. Like, it always took a dude to, put you on and campaign you. So a part of me was scared to do stuff independent, but I was never scared to voice my opinion. So I think, being that type of artist, I didn't really, like, I didn't do enough, like, commercially to sustain without a crew.
Right.
So that's why I wish I would have, at least put one more album out.
Okay, so looking back, what do you think has been the best part about your career?
The life lessons, the traveling. Oh, how I love to travel. I love to travel so much. I love traveling. I think, I do sometimes I'll do shows just for the sake of traveling. Like I just love I just love going different places. I've been traveling since since the age of 13. I went away to private high school in another state, and something about just living alone and going different places is just awesome. I mean, I don't necessarily have to be alone. I have my daughter, but I just love picking up and relocating at the drop of a dime.
Wow.
My best friend calls me the serial packer. So every time she talks to me, I'm either unpacking or repacking. So I definitely travel for me. That's like the best part of my job.
Okay. Now, if you could describe yourself in just 3 words, what would they be?
Me in 3 words. I'm gonna say teacher, revolutionary.
Okay.
And legend. I don't know. Let me see. Ooh, wait. Let me think of some words. Legend.
Okay.
Yep. What I say, revolutionary. Legendary. Yep. There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that sounds good to me. I want to thank you for being here with me today and just taking time out of your day to do this with me.
You got
please
it.
Everybody know where they can find you at for those who are listening.
Yes, follow me on Twitter at the real Rah Digga.
Mm-hmm.
Follow me on SoundCloud, Rah Digga Music, and also my Facebook fan page is Rah Digga Music. And
Okay.
you'll be pleasantly surprised. Like for those that didn't even realize I was still making music, not only are you going to enjoy the music, you're going to be like, oh shit, she really still can rhyme. Of all the chicks coming back from the 90s, like, Digga's definitely one of the ones that still got bars. So I think you're gonna enjoy yourself.
Okay, well, I want to thank you for being here again today and taking time out your day. You've been a great, interviewee. So,
thank you. I think that's a lot. I mean, I got some, I definitely have a lot of experience under my belt. I hope people, let's take some of these interviews, even if you're not familiar with us, the older artists, don't take everything as hate and being bitter. It's just we love, like, we built this, we love this. We want to make sure it's being used in the best way possible. We don't want you young artists getting exploited. We're not we're not mad at y'all. We're not even mad. We just want the system to be fair. To a culture that we built.
Right. Well, I want to thank you again, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you so much.